Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your weekly dose on Sundays of 3 very short videos. And the reason I do this is just for you guys that fall asleep behind your screens, watching my long videos right through the week and supporting me, which I appreciate very much. And this is just one of the ways that I can, pay you guys back and just give you some short information that will help you a lot. So, for the first video, I'm going to cover server settings, okay, for your single player campaign to create your own wonderful experience, completely customized to your taste, and then to create a server, okay, to run your own server with its own personalized settings, okay. So what we have here is the first thing that I did is I created a shortcut to this path where the server settings INI file is, okay. So if I double click on the shortcut, we are going to C drive, users, low, my real name, app data, local, Scum, saved, config, Windows no editor, server settings, okay. So I just created that shortcut so that I don't have to go through this whole path, because what you have to do is you have to go to view, and then you have to enable yourself to see hidden files. So you have to activate the hidden files, okay. Then you'll see these hidden files. Then you go to users, you go to your name, you have to get to app data, then you go to local, then you scroll down to Scum, okay, and then saved, and then config, and then Windows no editor, okay. And when you get there, you can just create a shortcut for it, okay. So yes, in the previous video, the other video today with the ultimate character creation, these are the settings that I'm going to be running on my hardcore challenge. And of course, I always like opening files with Windows Notepad++, okay? Instead of just normal Notepad, you can download that anywhere on the internet. And here we go. So these are basically standard settings where you can play with your single player experience. So we've got the maximum allowed animals in the world. That's how many animals you can have in your world. And then separately, how many birds you can have flying around. And then max allowed zombies in the world. Now what this means is just the max amount of zombies that you can have in your world at the same time. In single player, doesn't really matter, You're never going to have 500 puppets in your vicinity, okay? You'll probably break your game completely, if it's able to do that, but there aren't that many spawn points in any specific area. So I don't really care about this, okay? But if you're an admin, you're running your own server, this is about the highest you can go before you're going to put pressure on your server that, the server will never be able to handle properly, okay? If you go to servers that's max puppets, max vehicles, you'll see that the server feels very slow and not very responsive, okay? So 500 is about the max. Then the exterior, the sentries is just -1, is so that you have sentries. 0 is that you have no sentries mixing your game. Exterior pawn amount multiplier, basically how many zombies can you have outside, exterior, outside of points of interest. Default is 1. I'm going to have it on 5. Again, you can put it up to 9 or 10, but then the game starts doing funny stuff, okay? So 5 is the best experience I've gotten with having a Walking Dead feeling, without it looking like puppets were just pasted every 5 meters. And then, interior multiplier. You don't really ever want this higher than 5, because it actually means it's going to spawn 5 times the amount of puppets that it usually spawns inside of a bunker or inside of something. And what tends to happen, not really in houses, I think the game handles houses very well, but in bunkers, because you're sitting with such cramped spaces, puppets tend to teleport through the walls because they just don't have, they don't have space, and the game starts doing funny things. So don't really go higher than 5 for interior. And then, of course, guys, this is the worst settings possible. You can go for 1, which is the default. Wild pawns, how many puppets are out in the wild, okay, in between the trees, giving you that really nice Walking Dead feeling. Exterior pawn spawning check time is just how long do they take to spawn in. Default settings gives you 300 seconds on the outside puppets. I just put everything to 0 so that they instantaneously spawn, which hasn't given me any real problems. Just a much better feeling seeing them immediately. Even makes your starting location dangerous because they can spawn very close to you. Exterior spawn probability, the default setting I think is very, very low. The exterior is like on 50% and the interior is like on 30%. I put mine up to 100%, just to let all the spawn points activate to make it as epic as possible. Of course, this is for my hardcore series, guys. These are not default settings. The exterior spawner group cooldown, how long it takes for them to respawn. Now, the default is 900 seconds for outside and a half an hour for inside, which is 900 seconds and 1,800 seconds. For my hardcore challenge, I'm going to try and make it as realistic as possible. So it's an hour, basically, and every episode will be about an hour. So I'm just not allowing anything, to respawn. Not even the loot. The loot is also going to take an hour to respawn instead of a half an hour. Okay, so that it's as immersive as possible. Then you allow the certain sectors respawning. Enable locked loot containers. For some reason, you can put this on 0, then all the containers are open in the world. Okay, if you just want to loot stuff forever, you can do that. Lock protection, damage multiplier on my Survival Evolved, it's on ×2, my own personal server. It's on ×2 just so that the guys get shocked a bit more. I feel the shock protection is a bit weak, especially since there's gloves in the game. So you can put this on 1 or 2 or 3. You can make it as crazy as possible. If you make it very high, then any guy that has, like if I make it ×10, then you'll only be able to try and lockpick my door 3 times, before you're going to die. And it's going to bust your gloves with 1 try. So, you can make it so that no one really wants to lockpick with lock protection on. Time of day. I've changed this to 8 times the speed so that it's only a 3-hour period. Okay. So that daytime is 2 hours and nighttime is an hour. Okay. Let me just make sure. Yeah. So that's only 3 hours. Okay. Yeah, but my nighttime starts at midnight and then the sun rises at 6 o'clock. So I've divided the day into 4 sections of 6 hours because there's 24 hours in a day. So my daytime isn't 2 hours. My daytime is 3 times longer than my nighttime. Okay, so my daytime will be 2 hours, and 20 minutes, and the nighttime will only be 40 minutes. What I usually do is I put the multiplier on 6, okay? And then if you put the daytime speed on 6, then your daytime is 3 hours and your nighttime is only an hour, which works very nicely. And as I'm saying that to you guys, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this on 6. 6 is much better, so that there's 4 hours in a day. Yeah, this makes a lot more sense, okay? Sunrise time, sunset time, random location price. I'm putting this up to 1,000 for my hardcore challenge because I'm not allowed to die. Then standard stuff, how long you have to wait before you can spawn, what's the cooldown time before you can respawn again, what's the penalty if you try and respawn, in quick succession to each other. Spawning rates, my hardcore challenge will be a 0.5 loot where official is 1. Okay, official is 1, and then high loot servers are like ×5 or ×10. And what that basically equates to is a standard loot is you have a 60% chance to find loot in containers, common loot, and then you have a 10% chance to find rare loot in containers. The guys that use 5 times and 10 times multipliers is basically like playing PUBG, because there's like a 10 times loot server, you've got 100% to find the rarest gear there is. Even with the 5 times 5 server, you've got a 50% chance every time you loot a crate, to get rare loot. With 0.5, it's going to be a much better survival experience that I have to rely on crafting and actually survival tactics, because that puts the rare loot at 5%. So I'm only going to find rare loot 1 out of 20 times. And then it puts the common loot on 30%. Okay. And then, so that's gonna help a lot with hardcore survival experience. Again, the expiration date, when the loot respawns is normally on 1. I put it on ×2 because the default is half an hour. So I changed that to an hour. World events. I don't want my episodes to be longer than an hour. So what I'm gonna do is I made it so that the cargo drop falls every 45 to 60 minutes. Okay. And if I don't have a crowbar or I don't have the lockpicks, then of course I can't go and loot it. So it's done for that episode. But it's just going to give me a good timer, every day. And of course the loot in the cargo drop is going to be much less because of the 0.5 loot multiplier, which affects the cargo drops as well. And of course I'm going to struggle to find the tools to loot a cargo drop. Okay. But the cargo drop is just going to give me a reminder that we should head to the end of the episode. And that's about it. The sentry damage is ×5. Default is 1. And then the zombie damage multiplier is 5 as well. Okay. 3 for the damage multipliers is very nice. I think 3 is the best. I am working on the best Scum experience, and that's what I'm applying to my local server or my multiplayer server that everyone plays on, my whole community plays on. And there the damage multiplier is only at 2 at the moment. I don't want to make it too rough on the guys, but I feel a damage multiplier of 3. I think, 3, max number of puppets, 300, everything ×3, is the perfect Scum experience for me. Everything ×5 is definitely the hardest for me. And then 5 goes to 0.5 as well. Okay. Which adds a lot to it. And then, guys, the gold zapper in the kill box, you can make it worse, and then, just the electrical doors. If you fail, you get an extra second. Don't want to touch that. But I'm going to copy these settings in the description below, so that I want you guys to copy these settings that I have here so that you can join me in my single player challenge, so that you guys can see exactly how hard it is and how it feels. Then if you get frustrated, you can make all the numbers, you can make all the numbers 4, like 400 and ×4, or 300 ×3, 200 ×2, until you're happy. But I want you guys to copy this INI file so that you can share in the experience with me. Now, this isn't a 5-minute video, but I did promise you guys 3 short videos, every Sunday. And this is one of them. I can, of course, this is my server settings. Okay, which if you're an admin, then you just have a lot more settings to play around with. But these are the ones that you're worrying, that your main focus is on, whether it's a multiplayer server or a single player campaign. But these settings that I'm giving you guys, you can customize your single player campaign very nicely. The other hardcore thing about my challenge will be that there will only be one of each vehicle. So it will be very, very difficult to find a vehicle. It will just be the best single player challenge I've ever experienced in my life. And the 10 missions that I'm going to lay out for you guys in the beginning of the first episode will be nearly impossible with these settings. But like I said, if I do achieve that goal, it will be one of the proudest moments I've had in survival games. And yeah, I'll freaking make myself a certificate to say I've achieved, the ultimate challenge. In any case, guys, that's it. I have to jump over to the Scum map and then the Scum admin helper for you guys quickly, just to make testing stuff, a lot easier, and to find stuff on the map a lot easier as well. So yeah, click that sub button and subscribe button. I'll be doing things like this every Sunday. And yeah, this wasn't 5 minutes, but it was still short if you compare it to all my other videos. Cheers.